Good morning, everyone. And the question is out there. Can a number really affect someone's performance in a season? We're going to go over that right now.
All right. So I guess now you understand what the plan was.
Absolutely. At Colts Law, we talk Indianapolis Colts football.
We're going to stick to what we know, fundamentals and technique, 1% better every day.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Lawrence Owen. This is Colts Law. And again, we're going to go over this. This has been gone over a lot by a lot of people, not only local media, national media. It's everywhere. What's going on, Nomadic Brian? Question being, Michael Pittman, thank you. Thank you for the intro. Compliment on that. Now, the question being, did Michael Pittman talking to Carson Wentz when it was first announced that he was traded to the Colts, telling him, you know what, I want to keep number 11, is that really going to affect what's going on, FaZe? Is that going to really affect, Michael Pittman's numbers? Because a lot of people are saying, you know what, you got a quarterback that comes in, he's number 11. You already have number 11. You're only going into your second year. Give him the number, right? Then they bring up the Godwin Brady thing. Well, first off, this isn't anywhere near that situation. I mean, Brady is a GOAT, right? Walks in. Sure, if he wants it, give it to him. Carson Wentz, however, number one, is coming off in a situation where he's begging to be traded out, didn't want to play for that team anymore, and the team didn't want him either because they replaced him late in the season with another one, right? And Pittman, he obviously wants 11 for some reason. People are saying, well, he wore number 86 in training camp. Why can't he just wear that? Maybe his woman's birthday is on the 11th. Or one of his family members or something like it might be important to him. You never know. Right? But is this going to affect Wentz and Pittman's chemistry? I don't think so. I honestly, plus Matt Packerby chiming in. What's going on, Ant Rodgers? It wasn't just Pat McAfee. I mean, it's everywhere. National media all over the place was going off on this. Saying that, well, if Pittman doesn't give him his number, then, he might not throw to him as much. He might not look in his general directions. That's ridiculous. All right, first off, Carson Wentz is coming from one team where he had a bad chemistry with the front office. I'm not going to say the locker room because I don't know how that actually went down in there. But him in the front office was not having very good chemistry at that time. And I'm sure he wants to come into the Colts and be, a positive effect in that locker room. And he even told Pittman, that's okay. I was thinking about changing anyway. Right? So he probably just inquired, hey, would you be willing to give it up? Pittman's like, I really like it. I really like number 11. Wentz's response was, all right, I was thinking about changing anyway. And he should. Think about that. He's leaving a bad situation. Leave that whole bad situation behind you, including, you're starting fresh. You're starting off fresh. So start off with a new number as, you're fresh. That's my opinion on it. That's probably how things are working right now. Now, people, they're still out there. Still, to this day, national media is saying Michael Pittman and Carson Wentz got off on the wrong foot. Michael Pittman's numbers are going to go down. From the way Michael Pittman was talking and the way Carson Wentz has said a couple things, it sounds like they're going to be getting together this offseason and throwing to one another. Now, if there was bad blood between the number, that wouldn't be happening. Right? You wouldn't think they would be getting together on their own free time and throwing the football if there was any bad number over or bad blood between a number. Good Lord. Now, I do think this can affect Michael Pittman's numbers because of this whole situation. And I'll explain why. I think it could affect for the positive. And the positive is because of national media blowing this out of proportion. They're out there saying he's not going to throw to him because they get together, they're working out on the offseason. Carson Wentz, Michael Pittman, they may take that personally as a duo, as a threat. Carson Wentz may be like, hey, Mike, let's get together. Let's get some connections down. Let's start to understand each other's synchronicities and stuff, right? Let's prove all these guys wrong. And that's how I think it could legitimately affect Michael Pittman's numbers. Not because Pittman said no, it's because of the response from national media. Do you get that? I think that it could affect it because they want to prove national media wrong. That's how I see it. I don't care. I don't care about the number personally. If Michael Pittman likes the number, Carson Wentz don't want it. He said, I was thinking about changing anyhow. Let him change. Let him start fresh. I will guarantee you they will use this. People on the Colts use national media to burn a fire under them. And with national media out there blowing this out of proportion, I honestly believe Carson Wentz and Michael Pittman will grow closer because of it. You get it? Now, here's Shreyas, what's going on, my guy? The national media doesn't have anything to do with it. It'll be right telling them, play your game, throw to the open guy. Get that, 100%. But if they're out there like they were hinting at, Michael Pittman was hinting at him and Carson Wentz going out this offseason throwing together. That will help them gain chemistry together, which will help Carson Wentz find Michael Pittman Jr. more often than what he would other players. And with national media possibly doing what they're doing and affecting him, putting that fire under him, it could make him work even harder to that. That's why I think this legitimately could affect it. Just not in the way that media seems to think it will. Brian says, one factor Wentz has to learn Colts wide receivers, including Pittman. So it will start slow to build. Yes, just like Phillip Rivers when he came in, right? It's a slow process. They didn't have an off season to throw around with each other. They didn't have really much of a training camp. They had 3 weeks to work with each other before the season began. Now, I don't know if the same restrictions will be down. They'll probably be allowed to be throwing with each other. They'll probably have a training camp, OTAs, things like that. So Wentz is actually coming into a situation that is better than what Phillip Rivers walked into. Aren't they going to be training together in Cali soon with Des Patman? That's what I'm understanding. That's what I'm understanding. Ant Rodgers. Wentz does seem to have one thing that we disliked about Luck. He holds the ball too long. Do you think Reich is going to make some of those plays just for Wentz to make him comfortable? Straight up, look what Frank Reich did with Andrew Luck. He made those plays, drawn them out, helped Luck get the ball out quicker, raised his completion percentage, lowered his time to throw. Same with Phillip Rivers. Raised his completion percentage, lowered his time to throw. I think the same situation is going to happen with Carson Wentz. Okay? I don't think Carson Wentz will hold the ball nearly as long. There will be times when he's going to tuck that sucker down a little bit, run outside the pocket, extend a play, throw the football downfield. I mean, you don't take away what he does best, but you help him in the majority of what he is doing by helping him get those high completion percentages and get the ball out quick. So that's my thought. We forget we're Midwest. East Coast Sports Network, ESPN, only covers coasts in Dallas. I get that. But you go look at national media right now. Everywhere. Everyone has a take on Carson Wentz and the Michael Pittman Jr. thing. Everyone has a take on it. And every one of them, darn near, unless they were wide receivers, and even some of the wide receivers, like Keyshawn Johnson, was saying he should be giving up the ball or giving up the number to Wentz because you don't want your targets affected. I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, it's every. Go to YouTube and click that. Click Pittman keeps 11. You'll see. I mean, it's everywhere. It's ridiculous. If you want those guys, I guess Sanders looks like he's lost a step. Yeah. Oh, from what you was talking about earlier with them. Yeah, I'm sorry. I hope they get more time up front. Yep. Pittman and Patman are now in Cali practicing with Hushmanzada and Kebs. Yeah, they're technically out there right now, and you know who they got throwing them the football is Jacob Eason. Jacob Eason is throwing the football to him. I saw that as well, so that's also a plus. But I still think they were talking about literally. I mean, I watched the full TMZ interview. He said that they would be getting together most likely this offseason. Wait, whoops, sorry. We might get A.J. Green for cheap. I don't want A.J. Green. Speedboat. A.J. Green has lost so. It's kind of like Reggie Wayne in his last 2 years of his season, of his career, right? I mean, he just dropped off really fast. Loved Reggie Wayne. I loved A.J. Green. But I think A.J. Green has lost so much over the past 3 years due to injuries and age that I don't think he could get open. Ant Rodgers, if the Colts want more media coverage, they have to win games, and we have to be playing those contending teams like the Titans, the Ravens, the Steelers. Well, this upcoming season, we got a whole crap ton of them, right? I mean, we play quite possibly the toughest division in the NFL in the NFC West. Seattle, the Rams, Arizona, and the Niners. Plus, we're playing the Bills, Miami, New England, right? I mean, we got tough games to play this year. So they're going to have an opportunity to be on national media quite a bit this year. I don't think it's that important to either one of them, but I can't say that for sure. I mean, like I said, Michael Pittman's number 11, it might be, one of his loved ones' birthday or something. He sold a lot of jerseys his rookie year. Maybe he don't want to affect that with fans, right? Maybe he's, not wanting to put his fans in a bad situation because of so many number 11 jerseys got sold last year that he doesn't want them to have to go out and buy brand new ones right away because he's changing numbers. I don't know. King J. Wentz shouldn't be worried about a number. He should be worried if he starts the whole season. Honestly, he should just be worried about 1-0, right? And that's the thing about the Colts. They don't think ahead for a whole season. It's one game at a time. And they'll get that plowed into him during the offseason, training camp, OTAs. Want to know, you think of one game. You worry about one game at a time. If you're able to do your job one game at a time, you'll do just fine. Out the gate early with games with the Jags and the Texans. Yeah, we should win those. We should. But then again, if it's Jacksonville in Jacksonville, we know what happened last year. The Indianapolis Colts generally don't play well in Jacksonville. Jacob don't look bad. He's got an arm. He's got a cannon. But there's a difference between just throwing the football around in your backyard and having to worry about pass rush and stuff like that. He doesn't do well, from what I saw on film, throwing while on the move. That's a problem he has. Hey, guys, don't forget, please smash that like button. If you're here, I got over 25 people watching live right now. Please smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. Don't forget, I got Super Chat on. Guarantee get any comments or questions highlighted and answered by using Super Chat. And I've got my Patreon down at the bottom in the description of this stream. All right. So now that we got over that entire situation with Wentz and Pittman, let's move on. Let's go ahead and start the discussion of Colt. By the way, guys, I've got a heck of a list coming up. I've got so many people coming on my live stream. I just asked Kent Sterling, actually, if he wanted to join at some point in time. But let me go here down the list. First off, let me find it. Here we are. So Friday, I've got Zach Hicks with my regular Friday podcast. Saturday, I got Michael, the head lead host for Colts Brawl. And then Monday, I got Harrison Woods, who is a UK Colts fan. And then Tuesday, of course, I got Kevin Bowen joining the stream. So, yeah, I'm locked down. So I got a question for you guys. Straight up, Trent Williams. I got a tweet out right now, okay? I have a tweet out right now on my Twitter. It says, what's your number one priority this free agency for the Colts? Comment on how much of the $45 million cap space you'd be willing to spend at that position. And then I've got four options: pass rusher, left tackle, cornerback, wide receiver. And by far, pass rusher is the number one, hitting right now at about 67% or 63% of the votes. And number two is coming in at left tackle at almost 25%. So that's big. Another thing that came up, I noticed a PFF interview with Trent Williams today. A lot of people want Trent Williams to come for the Indianapolis Colts. They had an interview with Richard Sherman interviewing Trent Williams. Richard Sherman says, I think you're going to stay a 49er. I think you're going to end up signing a long-term contract with the Niners. Trent Williams' response was very simple. That's not a bad take. I think you're barking up the right tree, which means those of you who have high hopes that the Colts are going to sign Trent Williams, you might want to back off a little of that, because it seems to me like they're both Trent and the Niners are right now in works, possibly, of getting that extension signed. Alex, what's going on? I live in California and heard Wentz is supposed to show up to practice with the other Colts players that are out here very soon. Yes, that's what I've heard too. That'd be great, wouldn't it? I mean, that's something that Wentz needs to do, especially to gain chemistry with the guys and their respect with the receivers. Wide receiver free agency is the last place we need to be. Give young guys a chance and see if Paris can stay healthy. Bring back Autry and Dupree. Well, bring back Autry and then sign Dupree. I get what you're saying, though. I get it. The Colts don't need to be spending a crap ton of money on wide receivers. I agree as well. I mean, they could. I mean, if you want to go spend 9-10 mil, if T.Y. Hilton doesn't re-sign, go get a guy similar like Curtis Samuel for about the same price, about $9-10 million. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that at all. But I don't want to see a Galladay, way overpriced. Guys like that. I don't want to see. I think Fuller's going to be way overpriced. Guys that are going to be way overpriced. I don't think the Colts need to spend that much money on wide receiver this year. Thanks, Rogers. Thanks. See, yeah, he does have an arm, but like I said, when he's under pressure, he makes really, really bad decisions. And he does it, and his accuracy goes straight down the toilet when he's on the run. I noticed that when I broke his film down. It was a bad situation. Now, it's been over a year since that's happened. He had a guy who could throw on the run with him as a mentor in Brissett. So maybe they worked a little on that. I mean, the ex-quarterbacks coach now is his offensive coordinator. Plus, they bring in another quarterbacks coach. Plus, your head coach is an ex-quarterback and ex-offensive coordinator. They could legitimately be working on him, but I think they also need to be working on Carson Wentz as well. No to Henry, yes to Marvin. I think the best wide receiver tight end core for New England is Marvin Jones, Jacoby Myers, Emmanuel Sanders, Willie Snead, Jules, tight end core, Rudolph, Asiasi, and Keene. There's a couple tight ends that I think would go good. I'm not too terrible on the wide receivers. I think that's not a bad lineup for the New England. It's just I'm looking at the tight ends right now, and there's so many good ones and different styles of tight ends out there that I think New England could go out and grab. Anywhere between Hunter Henry, and you want a less known guy for about the same money. The one that came out of Seattle, that's coming out of Seattle. He's very good, great blocker. Kind of reminds me a little bit of a younger Jack Doyle. Rudolph, obviously. Ertz probably going to be released soon, so there you go. Avery, what's going on? What'd you miss? You missed everything that we talked about with the Michael Pittman Jr. and Carson Wentz with the number 11 thing. But that's okay, guy. That's okay. You can always come back and check it out later. Obviously. Shrey's like defensive end. Yes. I'm all in on the defensive end. We need defensive ends. We do. That's the most important position on the Colts right now that they need. Because both of our starters, left and right defensive end, is gone. We need defensive end. I can see using a draft pick on a defensive end, but I think we need to sign a free agent, one that is going to be somewhat effective. I don't care if it's Aquara. I don't care if it's Lawson. I don't care if it's Ngagwe, whoever, whatever. Hendrickson. Ballard just needs to go out there and make a move on one of those guys. And I think that the Colts can do that because the salary cap is very limited right now for most teams in the NFL. And I don't see Ballard hitting in the first week. I expect him to let that frenzy go away. Teams blow a bunch of money on hot overspend on guys. You're still going to have very good quality pass rushers in free agency left over that have nowhere to go because teams can't afford what they want. And then Ballard's going to drop a reasonable price on them and get them. I think that's what's going to end up happening. Yes, I love Kevin Bowen. I've had him on my show a few times. He's a great guy to talk to. Yeah, I've explained that as well, Shreyless. If we signed Trent Williams to $20 million a year, extended Nelson for $20 million a year, extended Braden Smith for, say, $12 million a year, plus Glowinski $6 million, and Ryan Kelly's $15 million, that's $71 million a year, even in a non-COVID year. That's over 1/3 of the cap. You don't spend 1/3 of your cap on your offensive line. I could see a quarter, but not a third. A quarter is highly priced. That's about what the Cowboys did a few years ago. They didn't make the Super Bowl. They had a great offense, but their defense just is awful. You got to build a team equally down the line. San Francisco is strapped for cash, but they can make moves. If they trade Jimmy Garoppolo, they clear up enough money to re-sign Trent Williams. Think of that. And that's probably what they're looking to do. Just saying. Sign a big impact tight end in free agency. I'm all for some of those guys. I don't want Ertz or Rudolph, though. I don't want 30+ year old tight ends. Can they still play? Probably. But I don't think that they'll be playing at a high level for very long. I would rather go get a Jonnu Smith or someone of that nature. There's still plenty of good young tight ends out there that we could get. Yeah, we can get talent in the draft. Another thing we got to remember is cornerback, though, okay? Ballard does not draft cornerbacks well. So that's a situation. If we want a cornerback, we'll probably have to grab one in free agency. I wouldn't mind Xavier Rhodes coming back or TJ Carey, but he needs to get one. The thing is about cornerback. With cornerback zone, see, cornerbacks are different for the Colts than they are for New England, okay? Colts use a lot of zone schemes. And in a zone scheme, that front four pass rush is like 75% of your pass defense. Because you're trying to get to the quarterback to pressure him to throw before receivers get into those open spots in the zones. An average everyday cornerback can run a zone scheme properly as long as he has a good, quick read, react. It's the pass rushers that is most important. That's why back in the Tony Dungy era, they didn't really worry about so much the cornerbacks as much as they worried about making sure that those edge rushers were really good. And they did. They had bookends with Dwight Freeney, Robert Mathis. And they were built that way for a reason because they ran that Tampa too. I'm not really big on Corey Davis, Anthony Zubia. Not really that big on Corey Davis. The thing with Corey, he's got speed. He could block. He does a lot of good things. He doesn't run routes well. That's the problem. You watch this man run an in route, and it takes him 6 to 8 yards to run an in-route cut. Once he plants, by the time he makes that full 90-degree turn, he's already 6 to 8 yards downfield. Not a good situation. Yeah, I like Jonnu Smith. All right, guys, I'm sitting here watching. If we spin, then we'll have to let someone go in 2022. Not necessarily, because I think 2022, our cap will go up some. Okay. Estimated cap space in 2022 is near $30 million more than what it is this year. That's the estimated. So we'll have a little bit extra money. Here we go, Speedboat. I cannot disagree with this at all. I know CB always gets the deal done, the right deals. We usually get top 10, 20 talent. It's a fact. Ballard is good at getting reasonable players for reasonable prices. I mean, go look at Autry. Go look at Houston. You know, TJ Carey was reasonable. Xavier Rhodes found himself a guy who fit the scheme perfectly for cheap. Right? Picked up Trey Burton on the cheap because he was still getting paid from the Bears. Chris Ballard's good at doing this kind of stuff in free agency, but the thing is, you got to realize he's a patient guy. He doesn't get mixed in that frenzy early on. So don't expect much from Chris Ballard early on unless a trade happens. You know, a trade could happen. Don't forget, guys, if you want your question dead on, my super chat and super stickers are wide open. Don't forget, smash that like button and hit subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I'm now over 1,000 subscribers. I'm looking to push up, hit that 1.1. I like to hit 1.1 by the end of the week. So Ant Rogers says he can see MPJ, 800 yards, 9 touchdowns. I think his high end is 900 yards and 11 touchdowns. That's if everyone stays healthy. Let's say the running game stays healthy, the offensive line stays intact decently. Carson Wentz plays at least to the 2019 level. And, you know, whoever the other 2 wide receivers stay reasonably healthy, like Paris Campbell or whoever he might grab in free agency or in the draft. Or even Zach Pascal, right? They bring RFA Zach Pascal back, which I hope. Him and Mo Alley Cox both, I really hope they come back. That's really not a bad idea. Bud Dupree to the Colts at a second-round edge to see if it pans out. I don't have an issue with that. I don't have an issue with that at all. He does not overpay. You are correct. Chris Ballard does not overpay for anyone, at least in his eyes. A lot of people think that he overpaid for Carson Wentz, but that was his set price. He said he never budged. He gave him that price and let it sit at that price. So, you know, he paid what he believed was worth. Thanks, guys. I mean, you guys are freaking hammering the chat in here. Doubt that. Any chance? This is most likely Trent Williams' last big contract. He's going to be looking for big money. I don't see him going cheap and going to Tampa over that. Galpaka. Trent will be huge for Wentz, regaining his confidence, which is my number one priority. I'm fine to invest in him short term and draft his replacement. I'm just a little worried. $20 million? First off, Trent said, you know, in an interview with PFF yesterday that he hinted at that he'll be staying with the Niners, that they're working through contract negotiations. But if you spend $20 million on him, that leaves you $20 million left to re-sign Leonard, re-sign Braden Smith, sign at least one defensive end, and either a cornerback or a wide receiver. You can't do all that with $20 million. It's just not possible. So, if you sign $20 million to the left tackle, you're leaving your defense out to dry. I really believe that. And I would not want to do that. Now, Dalpaca, I will say this. I sat here and had a nice little difference of opinion discussion, right? Earlier today with Kent Sterling on one of his videos. He agrees with you. He thinks the Colts should go after Trent Williams. I don't. I love thinking about how the offense will look if he is on it. I just think that it's – I don't like leaving the defense out to dry. That's the only issue. You just answered my question. That's awesome. The Rhodes package, a vet that would have been forgotten about, do a top 20 cornerback in the free agency within the 6 to 15, get a steal for a reasonable price. Yeah. Or, I mean, it's been said that Chris Ballard offered Xavier Rhodes $9 million a year to stay. I think that's fair compensation for the way he played last year. I mean, Rhodes was freaking solid last year, right? He's worth $9 million. But, I mean, it took him a couple weeks in order to get into the groove, but once he got in the groove, he was good to go for the rest of the year. Team's going to overpay for Corey Davis, but he needs a number one wide receiver like him. It's because he's not a number one. You can't rely on him to get open all the time because he doesn't run routes well. He's not like Michael Pittman Jr., right? Where he runs routes really well. Even Paris Campbell is better at route running than A.J. Brown. Paris Campbell just can't stay healthy. Hopefully he can this year. Ladies and gentlemen, my throat is getting sore. Yeah, I went to Culver's. Yay. You guys have a Culver's near you? Man, their food is awesome. Culver's, if you're watching this, I expect some kind of compensation for that. You guessed we drafted another wide receiver because this class is pretty good. I do too. I just don't think that it'll be first or second round. I could see the possibility of Ballard trading back with the first or second round pick, maybe picking up a third. That way he has a third this year, and then maybe picking a wide receiver in the third or fourth round. I think that's reasonable. I for some reason, I think left tackle, defensive end, cornerback. The problem is I'm afraid of him going after cornerbacks because his history drafting cornerbacks is not good at all. At all. A lot of guys stay for 1-year deals. It's possible Marlon Mack stays for a 1-year deal. I don't see Anthony Walker Jr. staying. I think Anthony Walker Jr. is going to get a $10 to $12 million deal from another team that needs a very good middle linebacker, and the Colts just don't have the money to spend to keep him. And that sucks because he's a Colt fan favorite. He's one of my favorite players on defense. But that happens. I can see Marlon Mack, though, signing a 1-year prove-it deal after that torn Achilles, maybe like a 1-year, $3-4 million deal just to stay and run alongside Jonathan Taylor as a main backup, and then watch Naheem Hines become more of a slot receiver, trick play guy that Frank Reich absolutely loves to use. I could legitimately see that. Will it happen? I don't know. But I can see it happening. Looks like Alex agrees with both of us, Ant. I would go ahead. Patrick Peterson worries me a little bit because he didn't play very well last year. AJ Boye might want too much money. Shaq Griffin, look at the pass defense of the Seattle Seahawks was absolutely atrocious last year. I mean, they were putting up points like nobody's business, but couldn't stop anyone from putting up points as well. So, but at the same time, they played a lot of man because they blitzed a lot. So Shaquille Griffin might be one of those guys that could turn his career around with the Colts. Agreed. I think Paris Campbell is a mismatch. 6 foot, runs a 4.3, 40. Good route runner, good hands. He just injury issues. Yeah, he will. Yeah, him and Wilkins both will be free agents next year. I get you. And what's sad is Wilkins is so underrated. Go look at his average yards per carry. Good Lord, he's a great backup running back. Nyheim Hines. The only issue is Nyheim Hines might be a guy who could possibly get a big contract too. Because you see these multi-weapon running backs getting massive deals in the NFL. Like Cook and guys like that. They're just getting huge deals because they can do so much on the field. Hines is one of those guys that's got a reputation of being able to do a lot. Actually, we do have to extend Darius and Braden. This is their last season. Chris Ballard does not want to go at the end of the year this year with both those guys hitting free agency. You don't want a bidding war with another team. This is their 4th year. They have to get extended this year if the Colts want to be sure that they keep them. Now, Nelson, you don't have to. Quentin Nelson, you could drop the 5th-year option on him and then re-sign him next year. Praise the Lord every day. Yo, I don't really think that the Pittman Carson number thing isn't as big a deal as media makes it. We've already went through this earlier. I'm sorry you didn't make it. You weren't able to make it for the beginning of the stream. Please go back after this stream is over. Go check out the stream. My first 15 minutes is nothing but talking about that and explaining why it is. I believe it will affect Pittman's targets next year, but in a positive way. And once I explain it, I think you'll understand why and maybe agree with me. Yeah, that's why I said it'll jump up about 30 or so $30 million more next year than what it is this year. That's if the COVID situation rounds out this year and doesn't affect the NFL the way it did last year. Guys, please don't forget, smash that like button, hit the subscribe if you're not subscribed. That way you can also hit the notification bell and be notified next time I go live or upload a video. I do a lot of uploads. I do upload a lot of videos. And don't go live stream. Like I did one yesterday. I did one for JJ Watt. Doesn't get near as much clicks though. It's kind of weird. But that's fine. That's fine. I appreciate you guys at least being here for my live streams. I don't know. I honestly don't know if that would have happened. Okay. Dabney. If he wanted it, he would have at least offered money for it. But since he didn't offer any money for it, then odds are he wasn't really pushing hard for it. That's why he told him, that's okay. I was thinking about changing my number anyhow. Yeah, let's go ahead and look at 2019 when he had a 64% completion percentage, 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Yeah, that's a terrible season, no pass, Jim. Whatever. Losing Walker will hurt us bad, Ricky Freezer says. I agree. All right, because Walker is excellent against the run. He showed improvement against the pass this past season. He's led the team the last 2 years in tackles. Last year, he had more tackles than Darius Leonard and played less snaps than Darius Leonard. Played less snaps than Darius Leonard, but had more tackles. Think about that. Plus, he gets everybody in position to make the right play at the right time against the offense. He knows what the offense is going to do before the ball is even snapped. That's why Anthony Walker is such a valuable player on a defense. And it sucks that we're going to end up losing him. But I understand why, because the Colts are just cap-strapped right now. That's possible. That's quite possible that Xavier will come back and sign for a 1 year, $9 million, and then test the market the year after that. Anthony says, but at least we still have Bobby. Look, I like Okereke, but he has problems. He misses tackles sometimes. He don't wrap up properly. And he has an issue with disengaging from blocks from time to time. He can legitimately get blocked out. Does he have the speed and range that Darius Leonard has? Yes, but he doesn't have that same ability to disengage from blocks the way Leonard does. Hopefully Leonard can teach him that over the course of his career. Devin says he don't think the Pittman keeping 11 is going to affect him getting targets. The media just wanted to say something. Devin, like I said, after this stream's over, go check out what I said at the beginning of the stream, the first 15 minutes, because I disagree. But it's not in the way that media is out there saying it. I think it's going to affect his targets in a positive way. And I explain why I say that later on. Okay. Well, Paris Campbell's only on his 3rd year. So he's going to get 2 more chances. But this year is going to be kind of really, really important because you want to see production for 2 straight years to give anyone any kind of contract. If he has a big year in his 4th year and is able to stay healthy, but couldn't stay healthy his first 3 years, that means he probably won't end up getting much of an offer from the Colts, right? Or anyone else. You generally want to see at least 2 seasons of staying healthy and being productive. Did I see the report that teams have contacted the Patriots about N'Keal Harry on a trade? Yes, I have. I also saw where some people were like they would take an 8th round pick for N'Keal Harry. An 8th round pick. I think that's too high. No, I'm just kidding, guy. I get it. No, yes, they should explore that. They should explore that market, in my opinion. I think there's issues with N'Keal Harry. So, like I said, I broke him down. Well, I didn't break N'Keal Harry down, but I broke down Cam Newton, as you know. And I saw a lot of what was wrong with N'Keal Harry. And I don't know if a lot of that's going to be fixed because I think of a lot of it's up here. Yeah, that is an issue. is our backups behind Bobby O. Most like Zaire Franklin and guys like that. We do have Glasgow, who was also on the COVID list, I believe, last year. So I think he's kind of similar to Anthony Walker. EJ Speed, I think he's more of a Sam linebacker than a middle linebacker than the Mike. And Franklin is more of a special teamer. He can play, but he's more of a special teamer, in my opinion. Corn Dog says that Wentz is not that kind of guy. I don't think so. I mean, if you go and check that out, you go talk to Philadelphia fans, the majority of them are like, Wentz is a stand-up dude. Thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks so much, Daphne. Appreciate that. I don't have my YouTube page open, so I don't know how many likes I have right now. But I see 37, 38 people watching live. Appreciate each and every one of you. I'm getting near the end of this run. Is Fountain still in the practice squad? Also, Pascal's a guy we need to keep, in my opinion. He's cheap and solid. We'll keep Zach Pascal. He's a restricted free agent, which means any offer that another team gives, all the Colts have to do is match it, and they keep him. And yes, Fountain is still on the team. But he's in a similar situation to what Paris Campbell is. He just can't seem to stay healthy. Well, we are going to have to move on. I know I love Anthony Walker. Most of us like Anthony Walker. I just don't think the Colts can afford him, and it sucks. Interesting question. I expect Hines to be $8 million. Leonard, I think, will probably be 18 to 20. Smith is probably going to be around 12. Tyquan Lewis, I think, is going to have another step in the right direction this year like he had last year. So, yeah. That's where I'm looking at. Whitmer, what's going on? Appreciate you being here. Don't forget to smash that like. Guys, like I said, I'm almost 55 minutes into this live stream. Love the fact that everybody was here. I enjoy sitting here talking. King J asked how many years was on that DeForest Buckner contract. He signed a 4-year extension, so he's got 4 more years left because he had 1 year left on his contract. Then he signed a 4-year extension, so he's a Colt for the next 4 years. Daphne says, Wentz is a clean-cut dude. I think he'll be terrific for a team that is morally aligned and always does the right thing. And, yeah. And they got a locker room that supports each other, but also keeps each other accountable. So that's another thing that, from what I'm understanding, the Eagles organization did not keep their players accountable. And that's a problem. The coaches and players, they all keep each other accountable with the Colts. Devin says, I feel like we should get a corner over a tackle. I think we could draft a tackle. I think Ballard is one of those guys who has shown that he does very good in the draft when it comes to drafting offensive linemen. I mean, the majority of his offensive linemen, even though they may not be with the Colts still, are still in the NFL and or starting for other teams. Think about that. I also feel like it wouldn't be a much of a stretch to sign Joe Haeg back. I think that'd be a cheap, quick little thing that we could do and draft a guy and then let Joe Haeg play until that tackle's ready to play. Corner, I don't think is as important. Like I said, I mean, that pass rush, in my opinion, is 10 times more important for a cover zone defense than a cornerback is. I mean, they're important, don't get me wrong, because we don't just play zone defense. I mean, the Colts still play man coverage 20 to 30% of the time, but you're looking at like 60 to 70% zone. So, yeah. A. Mill says Bobby Okereke is better than Anthony Walker, not by stats or PFF lines from last year. You go look at the stats. Anthony Walker was Anthony Walker was one of the best linebackers in the NFL last year. One of the best. He was good in coverage. He's one of the best run stoppers in the NFL. Bobby's faster, and he's got longer arms. But like I said, he doesn't separate, disengage from blocks very well. He gets inside too much and allows a blocker to get his hands on him. And he doesn't wrap up proper. He gets ran over a lot easier than what Anthony Walker Jr. does. Against the run, I'll take Anthony Walker Jr. every day of the week. But against the pass, I think Bobby Okereke is better currently. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been about an hour. I love each and every one of you that sat here with me. I will probably be uploading a video tomorrow and then going live, of course, this Friday, again, for my regular podcast live stream. Thank you so much. I am going to go ahead and highlight because it's the first time I've seen talking here. I think Wentz is good. People forget Philly lost half their offensive linemen and about 5 wide receivers. His coach's play calling was terrible, and he could fix those issues. They need to sign another wide receiver, though. There you go. I agree with 99% of that. But until then, guys, I got to decompress a little bit. I got to join Dear Pats Nation here in about an hour, literally to talk about the exact same thing that this stream was about. So thank you so much for joining. I'm Lawrence Owen. This is Colts Law. And please hit that like button. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. And until next time, have a good one.
All right. So I guess now you understand what the plan was.
Absolutely. At Colts Law, we talk Indianapolis Colts football.
We're going to stick to what we know, fundamentals and technique, 1% better every day.